am terrified of cameras actually, so it's a rare. But I know I need to step out my comfort zone.
So you started a business quite recently then, didn't you?
Yeah, so I started last January, and I've actually put a post out today about it. I mean, I've made so many mistakes, Mark. I
Oh
can't
my
even
God.
tell you. I spent the first couple of months.
Mm.
There's so much admin involved, isn't there?
Oh, starting a business is a fucking nightmare. So,
Everything. So I just made errors like with the database I picked. I thought I would need to contact every single client that has used me on the phone. I'd need to speak to them. So I don't know how long I wasted doing that. And so if you think I've covered the whole of the north, so that'd be like the northeast, the northwest,
yeah.
Lincolnshire,
Did you? So
complete waste of time.
what made you do that then? Is there something that's kind of because you're from a big agency
Yeah,
background as well, aren't you? And I am as well.
yeah,
Is
I saw that. Yeah.
is that your training? Is
I don't know. I just thought it would be the right thing to do. I didn't want to I did send out an email, but I wanted to speak to everyone and say, oh, look, I've set up my new business. We've worked together in the past, la, la, la. It was just a complete waste of time.
yeah.
And the reality is, is I've just narrowed it down. So I only need to work in Yorkshire. And actually, I don't need that many clients.
It's oh God, I've spoken on other podcasts with a guy called Max Jones, who's the MD of Isotope, and we talk about this exact thing because he helps recruitment agencies start up,
Yeah.
and they do all the back office and they do investments and stuff like that, and we talked about this quite a lot, where people are kind of at the beginning they think that all their old clients care that you set up on your own,
Yeah.
and they don't. And then you and I remember going into it because I was out of the game for 6 months before I started my business, properly started my business,
Yeah.
because I went on jury service for a period of time after I was let go. And I remember phoning like the first 10 clients I ever worked with, going, "Hey, I'm set up on my own. You know, come and work with me." And like literally, you could hear a pin drop in that conversation. About
Yeah.
4 or 5 months later, after that, I found one, maybe two of those 4 billion companies that I try contacting will come back and say, "Hey, yeah, we want to work with you." But
Yeah.
everything from there on was new business, new business, new business, and it was all about picking up
Yeah,
clients.
again, I'll come to that actually. The new business being interested. So there's been some good new business. There's been some bad new business as well. So sort of went hell for leather doing all this, research background, and then the pandemic hit.
Oh no, yeah,
And I just didn't know what to do. I mean, I was absolutely devastated.
I know. I know the feeling, by the way, because when I started my business in March 2016, June 2016 was one of the biggest turning points in British history, which was
Yeah,
Brexit.
yeah,
Everyone voted for Brexit. And
yeah,
for the months after that, and similar to what you're experiencing or what you experienced last year, the months after that, it just went and everything just went weird.
yeah.
I'm
All the
hope it's getting
things.
better. Is it starting to get better for you? Is
Yeah,
things start?
it was pretty terrible for about the first six, and then I had challenges like homeschooling, all this kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
The minute the kids broke up that July, I hadn't given up, but I couldn't. I just was all over the place with it, and I kind of had to self teach. I had no one to turn to. I did join a WhatsApp group, which obviously we first encountered each other,
yeah,
and things like that. And that wasn't for me. I tried a few other things. This wasn't for
yeah.
me. I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it, and my husband's in a very different industry.
Oh, I know. Yeah, my wife works for the NHS. She hasn't got a clue
Yeah,
what I do.
yeah,
My mother-in-law asked me the other day, "What do I do?" And she's known me
yeah.
for 16 years.
Yeah. It. But one of the best things I did actually, there's lots of things. Obviously, I'm going to go off on loads of tangents now
Oh
because
no, just do it. Just go.
yeah,
Get that way. Go. We don't
was,
care.
was LinkedIn because, and I know you'll appreciate this being from a big agency as well. Is I was one of those awful recruiters that used to just post apply to this job, and I didn't. Although I had, I don't know how many connections. I didn't really know how to use LinkedIn. I had no idea, and I hadn't even thought about it because
Yeah.
there's no like. I did that stereotypical thing, set up an agency, bought 10 like mindfulness, motivational books, read 2, the rest are next to my bed, remain untouched. I'm never going to read them. And I just had no one to ask or do, but I
I
obviously
know.
realized LinkedIn was going to be my key, but I didn't know how to use it. So I did actually get a coach on there
Oh,
initially.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Are
which
you allowed to mention who they are?
yeah,
Or?
Chris Williams, who was I did like 2 of his short courses. It
Yeah.
wasn't like one-to-one coaching, it was just part of a group thing. And he actually it was the best thing I ever did
Oh,
because
wow.
he did speak to me once one-to-one, and the first thing he said, I was crying, and he said the one thing you can do, Ben, is don't stay invisible. Obviously, we've hit a pandemic. No one's going to remember you if you
No.
don't post. No one. So it took a while. I learned trial and error.
But if I'll be honest with you, I felt like I've known you for years
Yeah.
because of LinkedIn. I honestly do because we like you said we kind of met through a WhatsApp group. By the way,
Yeah.
I storm out of WhatsApp groups. I hate WhatsApp groups. I get
Yeah.
invited to so many, and then they turn into these. I'm going to rant now. They turn into these like, oh, here's my post, like it. What's that called again? That's called something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Pod.
yeah, pod. That's it, pod.
Yeah. Wow.
I hate pods. Although I run a little group called Recruiters Arms,
Yeah.
and it's mostly a group of recruiters, very similar kind of mindset as me, that just like to either talk about recruitment or talk about completely something different and moan about the world as well.
Yeah.
But we're not a pod because some people post stuff. Can you like this? No, go away. which is
Well,
which is
it's
great.
funny. I joined another WhatsApp group, and really nice, lovely, really, really, really good. So there's some really good but again, that turned into a pod, and so I
They
pulled
always
out.
do. They
I
always
know.
do. They always do.
Because that was really useful, like all the business and engagement stuff and the useful contacts, and they are really lovely. And I left it, and I've recently added in, but I haven't actually spoken on it, so I don't think they realise that I'm there again. Because I just don't like the pod thing, and that's not me.
Yeah. Also, I'm once you get to a point with WhatsApp, I think it's around about 6 members. It then turns into just the scroll of words that you don't, you 680 messages. The next time you look at it, you think, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read
Yeah,
any of these. And some of it could be really interesting, but I think it spoils itself. That's why
yeah,
I'm more about going into a forum-esque like Discord or something like that, where you can then categorize things and then have separate conversations in different areas, and then pull away and have little group conversations if you wanted to as well. I
yeah.
think that's how I find it, and that's probably the number one reason why I hate WhatsApp. And then there's the bullshittery on top of that as well.
Yeah,
Which,
all those sorts of things. I made loads of errors like that, and then I tried to get my LinkedIn thing going, which I'm less bothered now. I do really enjoy it. I absolutely love LinkedIn because I
I could
love
tell.
networking.
I could tell. Yeah.
I know my whole life is on there now. But I'm not bothered about the likes or the comments
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about any of that. And before I was like, oh my God, it's only had a few likes, a
It,
few comments. I'm just not concerned anymore.
you have to kind of check yourself when it comes to that, because if
Yeah,
you really kind of all you're there for likes and comments, then you see that your content slowly deteriorate, and you start then pandering. And you see it with some LinkedIn creators at the moment. They're
yeah,
pandering to an audience then, and then they accept anyone to be a part of their circle, and because that audience is feeding their ego, but it's
yeah,
doing nothing for you as a recruiter. And that's what we are at the end of the day. The first part is we're recruiters. We're not
yeah,
LinkedIn influencers. We're not trying to entertain people. We're trying to be recruiters.
yeah.
Um, and that's what we need to do. But like I say, I felt like I've known you for years. So this last 6 to 12 months, I've
Yeah.
gotten to know you. It's
Yeah,
been it's been exciting. It's been brilliant, actually.
I think we're on a similar mindset, aren't we? There
Yeah,
are some terrible recruiters out there, and there's some that I think probably we've done the big agency, we know what it's all about, we've set up for our own reasons, and that's probably like-minded, isn't it?
yeah,
No,
I think
yeah,
so. And I think that's where because like you say, we come from the big agency, and we've gone through the mill with that. That's a corporate recruitment life is different to this. This isn't corporate. And you look at some of your friends, they're like behind a glass wall. They can see you and see what you're doing, but they can't say anything. They can't do anything.
No, no.
It's quite interesting, actually, because I
They're
get
in,
someone messaging me and asking me, can I try to do this? And I say, well, you need to do this. Oh, no, no, they won't let me do that. It's quite funny, actually.
yeah, it's bizarre. It's like a cult mentality, though, isn't it? They don't realize
Yeah.
what it's like a goldfish, isn't it, Bowl? They don't realize what's actually going on in the real world. They're just kind of fed what to do, what to post, how to work.
That's
That's
it.
it.
And also,
Yeah,
when you come from a big agency mentality as well, you pick up the phone to most clients and they know who you are when you say the name of the company.
yeah,
And you would more than likely get work given to you because there's some sort of terms agreed, or they just know you because
yeah,
that's, they're aware of that size company. As a small business and on your own, you're fighting a different game, and it's about trying to get noticed and trying to get recognized. And I think
yeah.
LinkedIn really helps that, really helps you get recognized and noticed.
It's amazing. So I think that's been one of the best things for me, actually, is LinkedIn. And I don't think the business would have survived. Didn't matter, that I'd had, over 17 years working with some clients. If
Yeah.
it hadn't been LinkedIn, it wouldn't have survived last year because it was so hard.
So
Yeah.
tell me about those so we can warn other people, those bad things that happened to you last year. Then, what was the biggest mistake, or the
Uh,
top five? No, just
I
the,
think look, a lot of clients contacted me, so new clients contacted me,
that's
and
brilliant.
they all seemed. So I think I would say I was a good judge of character. They all seemed really nice. I was vaguely aware of some of them, which was great, but a couple, yeah, two absolutely screwed me over. One, another client I worked with before completely threw me under a bus. There's no conscience with some clients. That's what I mean.
It's
And
tough.
and it
Yeah,
was hard because how did I judge that? How did I know that was going to happen? And one of them I didn't confront, and they actually contacted me recently to ask me to recruit for them. And I ummed and ahed and said, I can't find anyone, but I didn't even spit it out. I wish I'd have
yeah,
said, actually, you've been absolutely ruthless. And if you think I don't know what you've done,
yeah,
I should have. But you also get to a point where it's kind of broken your heart, and you've been upset, and you've agonized over it. You kind of just want
yeah.
to put it behind you, don't you?
Oh my God, yeah. I
Yeah.
even I'm nearly 6 years into this,
Yeah,
and
you've been going a while.
I still making the same those type. The reason I make the similar type of mistakes is because you're trying to find the group of clients, 5 or 6 that you will
Yeah.
constantly work with, and sometimes then they drop. I mean, one of my best clients in the last 2 years has dropped off completely because they were bought out by another company, and the
Oh,
managing director moved on. He's taken me with him to his new company, but because he's not at the same level anymore, I have to
yeah.
go to a different mill. So they're not the top client anymore. Now I have to find a new top client,
Yeah.
and you are trying to dig through and try to find the groups of companies that you, first of all, you believe are great for your candidates, because you want to represent some good people to good companies. You don't want to just represent good people to bad companies.
Well, this is it. You need like a bit of a mixture, don't you?
Yeah,
Because obviously there's although I'm only just working Yorkshire, really, there are obviously a lot of firms, and I need to be able to approach all of them. So I am. So I've got my core, like you say, I've got my core ones that will always give me work, and they're good quality clients, and I've got decent rates attached, and they're not going to mess me about. So
that's
I'm
it.
glad I've established those now. But like you, my best client for years has just been taken over. And yeah, I feel for you there. Absolutely gutted.
And I always say this to people that come to me and say, "Oh, how do you start your own business?" And they'll come with 3 or 4 clients, like they think they're going to take with them, and it they don't realize that your best clients will disappear very quickly. You can't base your business plan on those 3 or 4 companies. You
Yeah.
have to have this focus of growing your business in a way that you don't perceive today, and that's an important part of it as well. But then when you start up in something like a pandemic, I get it. It's really hard. It's really, really hard.
Really hard.
Yeah.
It was really, really hard. Yeah, I can't. But at the same time, I keep thinking, God, if I got through that, I could do
What
anything.
else?
Yeah. So I had August onwards, it was really, really good, and it's remained good. But I have had a few choppy periods this year.
Yeah.
How have you found things like over the years? Like what kind of mistakes and what have you learned?
So I think some of the biggest mistakes is probably what you're experiencing at the moment is working with the right people
Mm,
and truly looking into what these companies really want and how they treat you as a recruiter.
yeah.
And what I found over the years, or the three things I found over the years is if they want to devalue what your offering is as in what you charge, they want to bring it down massively, then they
Mm,
don't value what you do. That's the first one. So they, for some reason, there's a direct connection I found in the last 6 years that quality and that, or working with that particular client always seems to be hassle and problematic. And I don't know why, but it's always the ones which push your price down and trying to get you to basically do something for nothing, in essence. So that those are the clients that take your time and so forth. The ones then, the other kind of mistakes that I made was well, one of the biggest mistakes I made, I should say, was I involved a factoring company to do all my invoicing, not realizing that they're very good at messing your clients up at the same time because they're chasing your money for you, but they're doing it in such a way that if you've established this great relationship with a client,
mm,
it ruins that relationship because suddenly now you're chasing money. And I think you've gone from a great service to chasing money. I get it, it's all about money and getting paid on time, but daily chasing for it like a debt collector, and that ruined the relationship. So I went through this really stupid time about 3 years ago, and I lost two, maybe three clients. They all three of them have never come back to me because of that experience. And I
no.
realized, yeah, and I realized then, I really should just stop doing this because it's trying to keep cash flow is great, but also trying to keep clients is equally as great. And
Mm,
all I have to do is wait an extra 10, 20 days for the invoice to be paid. And maybe just do your conversation every 10 days or something like that. And, for the last 6 years, bar two invoices, every invoice has been paid within 30 to 60 days. So why did I do that? Why did I go for a factoring company? And I believe that getting paid as soon as someone's placed in the first 7 days was a great thing. But no, I was losing clients because of that. So
mm,
that was one of my biggest learns. When it comes to contract factoring, that's a different matter. That that you're going down a different route with that. But that was perm factoring. So yeah, I learned the hard way there. And then the third one I learned as well is as much as technology is trying to help us, it actually is the opposite. I think too much effort and time is focused on certain technology and recruitment to help us along when really just picking up the phone or just sending a very simplistic email works just as
yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my method. But do you ever do like the video messages or anything like that?
So I'll be honest with you, I started doing video messages a couple of years back, and
Yeah.
then the big companies that now are trying to sell it have come in, and I found that as I was doing the video messages, no one was really watching them or nobody was really opening them. But yet they were still reading my emails or reading my LinkedIn messages or taking my calls. So I felt it was a bit pointless doing these video
Yeah.
messages. And then I thought maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I'll try it again. I sent about 10 of these messages at once via a free version of this app, by the way, that you can get. And every single one of them, someone come back to me saying, I don't like these. Can you stop sending them to us? Uh, I'm like, And I found out one of them only come back to me and said, they're like, why? Why? Because I get 10 of these a day from recruiters. They're pointless, absolutely pointless. I'm not going to watch them. I'm not going to spend 30 seconds of my life watching you touting for business. And then I asked the question, what will get you to talk to me? Just just call me or just speak to me like a human. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think for clients, that is my preferred method anyway. But
Yeah.
it's more on the candidate side. I don't know whether I should be doing more of that.
I think it's sector specific as well. I've sent video messages to candidates and they've picked up the phone and got back to me very
Right.
quickly. But you don't need to pay for the fancy software to do that. You can literally just send them a message now on LinkedIn. Um,
Yeah.
and that's it. Or on WhatsApp, a recorded message on WhatsApp as
Yeah.
well. But for clients, I just, if you're a busy hiring manager and 10, 15, 20 agencies are chasing you, and then suddenly now they're sending videos, you're going to watch those videos, really?
No. No.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my little rant.
No, 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 that's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting hearing your, what you've experienced and these things that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, but I think that's one of my learns anyway. Technology isn't the be and end all of it, but the thing is, you are trying to figure out what technology is working for you,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's the hard part. And then once you find the right one, mastering it so that it looks quite natural and quite nice and
Mm.
differentiates yourself from the rest of the market out there at the same time. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I've made some mistakes with CRMs and then it's
Yeah,
such a minefield. It's such a
yeah.
minefield. It really
Because I
is.
went cheap. I went to like Recruit So Simple.
I've done Recruit So Simple. Yeah, I've done that.
And now I'm on Vincere. Is that pronounced right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which is good, but I'm still trying to transfer some of that information over. So it's just been a bind,
Yeah.
Why didn't I do this from the beginning? I tried to cut corners on costs,
Oh no. But I find with every CRM, there's a piece of it that really works really, really well, and then
Yeah.
the rest of it isn't really that good, or I don't really want to use it, especially because we work on our own. We're not going to track KPIs.
Yeah,
Why,
yeah.
you know what I mean? But we need somewhere to put information about people and about companies and the jobs and tracking that kind of information.
Mm.
But then there's elements missing, I find missing, or that you have to pay shed loads of money for, is marketing your business and making sure that your business is kind of automated and running in the background instead of taking elements of that CRM and going to MailChimp or an Excel spreadsheet. Do you know what I mean? So each individual CRM has a piece of what I like. I love to take them all and put them into one CRM.
Yeah, it's hard, but like you say, it is trial and error with that. And the other thing I was going to ask you, in terms of you and your business, has it always just been you?
Yeah, not by choice. It's been, well, I say the last 12, 18 months it's been by choice. Up until about the third, fourth year, there was always been plans of expanding.
Yeah.
And then because my market's quite up and down because of Brexit and a few other kind of political decisions that's been made at the moment, I haven't had the chance to be able to kind of just push into employing people. So the plan's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. Weirdly enough, I was talking about this yesterday with one of my friends who's a very similar type of business as me. And we kind of got to the point now where I'm 42. Do I want to continue this route of, am I going to employ people or am I going to just carry on because I'm quite comfortable, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I hate to use the word taking over. It's not the right word, but I enjoy what I'm doing where I'm at, if that makes sense. But maybe, because we've just had a baby as well, I might be an influencer to that. But maybe I can look at this at a later date. And I think it's just not the right time to expand, if that makes sense. But that's just my opinion. I know people which are offering silly money to bring people on board at the moment because they just have this urge to grow their business. And whether that's vanity or not, I don't know. What about you? What's your plans? What do you want to?
No, I don't want to. I don't know if that makes me sound like I'm not
No, it doesn't.
ambitious. No, I just don't want the hassle. And my husband, this is a constant thing between us. He thinks I should. And at one point, sort of a couple of months ago, I had so much work coming through that I ended up, and some of it wasn't in my, we were saying about locations. I ended up contacting about 5 clients and said, I can't, realistically, I'm not going to find you anybody. I'm snowed under. And at that point, I thought I could do that actually 2 other people right now. And so I pulled back because I want to be realistic, and I was feeling really burnt out. And I don't want to grow. I don't want to. I just, partly with this was a lifestyle choice and to fit in around me and my family.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
And I just don't. I've managed for and really not enjoyed it.
I was going to say when I was a business manager, I loved the people aspect of business management, but the rest of it was just frustrating. The HR aspect of it, that I've got friends that have hired people, especially in the last 12 months. They've hired people to come work with them, and they've had is just, hey, HR issue after HR issue, and it's just, you know what I mean. And that's not what you start a business for. You start a business to make money. Let's be honest, and create this service that you believe in. And yeah, I think it's definitely a difficult thing to do. But for you, if you do pick up work and you can't fill it, the great thing about being an independent recruiter is that you can make friends within your circles and share the work 50-50 it. But you've got to build, trust me in this one, you've got to build that trust up with people.
Yeah,
and it takes a while.
I do. So I get, I only do like recruitment into private practice firms. So I get a lot of in-house candidates contact me, and I get a lot of clients and candidates contact me wanting to go down the locum route. So there's one agency I refer for locums, and there's about 3 that I refer for in-house, and one of them has sent me messages before and said thanks for all the work you're sending, and that's fine. But the people that do mine, they're ruthless. I wouldn't share. Yeah, no, it's a really, like, all aspects of recruitment, very competitive. I mean, it's like you said, some when I hear some stories, I do want to post about it on LinkedIn. Because as I've said, it's all right for me to say this is wrong, and I don't think agencies should be, doing this, but I don't want to get down that, then everybody then jump on that post and then start slagging off agencies, and this happened to me and that happened to me and this happened to me. I have written the odd one, but yeah.
I know. I try not to write ranting posts, but it's so. Do you know, sometimes I write them and then draft them and then read them afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, on a Sunday night, I tend to write at least 5 or 6 posts.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I use Buffer. So whenever I'd be in Asda and I think, that's a great post. And I go on Buffer and I'll write the post.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it for a date, like in a week's time or a couple of days' time. And then I'll come back to Buffer the next day and I'll read it. And then I'll go, no, I'm going to delete that. That's a little bit heated. To say the least. Yeah. I did one yesterday and I actually deleted the post because there was some, I don't know if you spotted it, about going back to work. People working from home at the moment, going back to the office. And my argument is, I've been on a few podcasts about this as well, saying the same thing. So this is nothing groundbreaking for me. But my argument is, everyone's going to end up back in the office soon. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Not now, not in the next 6 months, but in the next 2 years, I think there's 2 things I think companies are going to do. They're going to realize that their staff are not actually that productive or happy in certain elements, certain jobs, where you're just you and a laptop and just doing whatever that is, programming. They're going to kind of look at, I think sales jobs might be the big one. They're going to look at and say, this isn't really working, profits are down. And that's one of the big ones as well. As soon as profits start dropping year on year, they will blame working from home as the first point of call, because that's the biggest differentiator in their company. Not the market, not Brexit, not the pandemic, and not changing market conditions. It would be, profits are down, it's got to be work from home. And especially if managers have that mentality where they didn't believe in work from home as well, so they will blame that. And the other differentiator as well is companies will naturally lose staff. And then when we have a spate of unemployment, or unemployment starts rising, the only jobs left on the market will be those type of companies which make you jump on a train to go all the way to work. And if you want pay rises, if you want promotions, if you want to be recognized in the company, then you got to be visible. And that's the excuses they will use. And you and I both know from the corporate recruitment world, that's how they work. That's the mentality of a lot of them.
I mean, I think recruitment, apart from the boutique agencies, I think the main ones, I think that will happen. You will have to be back in the office. I was allowed to do 1 day at home. And if there were any issues with the kids, to be fair, I did manage to sort of work from home. Yeah. So it was, they didn't like it. It wasn't for everyone. I've been there for years. I managed to get away with it. But I can see most recruitment agencies forcing the staff back in.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And so there was a couple of people commented saying that I was wrong. And I kind of went, oh, no, this is not the debate I wanted. So I deleted the post.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I find with my posts, it's very all mood dependent. So if something like
Yeah.
you said, if something bad's happened, then
But that's exactly it. It's mood dependent because some days I'll post something quite heated, quite debated, like Tim Martin post. I don't know if you caught that one the other week. I did. So basically, I called Tim Martin an idiot because he spent the last few years promoting leaving the EU and stuff like that. And now he wants EU people to come back to work for him. And
yeah,
it's like, Tim Martin, you're an idiot. You don't. It's not because of Brexit. It's because the way you put yourself across and your business across in the last 12 months, no one wants to work for you. And I thought that would have a very negative connotation on LinkedIn and bring out those types of people, which are like, flag wavers and stuff like that.
yeah.
And it didn't. It actually had quite a really good debate. People really came in and joined in the debate. And then other days, then I'll say something, and my mood is like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't say that. Oh, God, no, delete that. I don't want to. I don't want to annoy people with that. That's
Well,
bad.
that's it. You just can't. Some days you just like, I've just got too much work to do.
Yeah.
I just can't be doing with like people being angry. And I will just delete the comments now because I do. I can't stop myself but retaliate to them. So I just delete them so I don't keep rereading them.
Yeah. I'd be honest with you. I'm exactly the same. I'm. What's the word I'm looking? I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to some comments, where mostly because they'll say something and I'm more embarrassed for them by what they've said in the comments than I am about I'm going to argue that comment. But I don't want to argue that comment because then I'm engaging with you with your weird comments. What is wrong with you? Why did you comment like that? And you kind of like delete. That's just quick and easy for me.
Yeah, just delete it. And I just block them. I block loads of people, by the way. If I don't like them, I just block them straight away.
Yeah.
So I am. It is like a really nice community. There are some strange people on there, and I did get catfished a few months ago by another recruiter. Very sure it was. So it was somebody started messaging me pretending they were a candidate.
Raw. Yeah.
It was blatantly another recruiter because I noticed they didn't have a profile photo, which I didn't look into. But the firm they said they worked at, they weren't on the company website, they weren't on the law society, and then it was just like red flag. They were trying to find out details about jobs, and I was just like, it was quite unnerving. And then it made me think, how many other weirdos or catfishes are on my connections?
Loads.
I've stopped connecting with many people, which isn't great. So I must have over 50 at any time of people trying to connect.
Oh, I'm exactly the same. Exactly the same.
You accept them all.
I don't. I have an argument. There's a few people that say, I don't want to mention their names, but there's some really, really good LinkedIn trainers, influencers that do a load of free lives and stuff like that. And they're really good, decent people. But I disagree with one thing with them, and that's the accept everyone that connects with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they say have a narrow bandwidth within your connections, but also a broad.
Yeah.
And like, what? How do you two-tier your connections? You can't. You already got 2 tiers, 3 tiers of connections because you don't connect with second and third connections, but they'll still be a part of what you do because your first connections that you like to connect with, they'll be for you, the legal market, recruiters, because they have very similar opinions to you, and then groups of people that you've just connected with through comment sections or you like what they've posted. So you'll have those groups of people. You don't need to have random people from around the world that don't have anything in common with you, can't promote you in any shape or form in their groups, and some of them probably don't understand half the stuff you're talking about because it's all recruitment jargon or what I mean, or it's legal jobs, but they're a welder from Skipton. Why you know what I mean? Why do you need that in your group? You don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's more the overseas ones that I don't connect, or if I see they haven't got many contacts, then I'm instantly thinking it's a catfish.
Oh, instantly, yeah. So much connected. They've got 5 connections.
Yeah.
Go further down the list first, connect with another 500, and then I might connect with you. Is this officially your first video, by the way, doing this podcast?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm so excited. This is,
I know. You're the chosen one.
I've broken your video cherry. Okay.
Just me. Yeah.
Oh God. So with LinkedIn then,
Yeah.
because you're hugely immensely popular and everyone knows who you are.
I don't know if that's true. I've got some really good, like you, very much like you, like some really nice, lovely, supportive connections on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really love the same group of people liking my stuff because
yeah,
it it's people call it followings. I don't. I call it respect, mutual respect. Everyone's kind of respecting each other's stuff.
mm,
Um, and then you'll see the same people doing it, and then a new guy does it, and then a new person comes on, and a new person. And you think, oh, something's going on here. Why? And it's because you've liked my post, and people like you, so they must like me. So they go and check me out, and that's how that whole mutual respect.
it
It,
is brilliant. It's just such an
yeah,
amazing tool. It really is. I love it. Really enjoy it.
I think you should do more video though. Look at
No,
the face.
I need to get over this fear of video. Like, I just hate the whole camera thing. I can't even cope my photo being taken much. It's just,
Oh no, don't say that. I think you'd be
yeah,
great.
no, it just terrifies me that,
Don't be terrified. Don't.
yeah, it terrifies me that. And like, in terms of like business planning, do
Mm.
you do a lot of that? Like how,
Yes, I say that with a long at the end. How I've been doing it in the last 3 years, because the first few
yeah,
years was proper SWOT analysis and business plans and stuff like that. But as
yeah,
I've gone on, I've started reading like Simon Sinek and watching more podcasts, watching more podcasts and reading more uh, about different alternative ways of doing your business. And what I've learned is just do what you know, basically what you really, really know, and focus on that. And then you know where you're going wrong because if it's not making money or it's not producing what you need to do, then you
mhm,
need to do more of it or you need to start changing and focusing on other things. And
yeah.
that's really helped in the last couple of years. I've also stopped worrying about what other people do. I really don't care what other people do now. I just
No, yeah.
do that basically.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm very much like you. I'm like my own thinker, but occasionally when you read the odd post on LinkedIn and you're like, oh my God, they're absolutely smashing it. I bet you they've hit their target. Well, I've told you they've hit the target for the year, and it's like February. Like,
can I say I was talking about weirdly I was talking about this same person yesterday about
yeah,
stuff, and he was telling me a story about a guy that's trying to hire him. And I won't mention any names, but he said,
yeah,
and he was stating to him how well the business has been doing in the same market he works in, and given him this massive figure of what they've produced since December. And he's sat there going, I've been in this game now for 15 years and I know my market and I've got work and I'm making money, but I can't get my head around how you're making that much money. You must be doing something super awesome then to produce that much money. Um, Basically, what he was trying to get to the point of that this guy was talking utter bullshit, basically, and
yeah,
there's so much of that in our sector, and that's
yeah.
why I'm really honest. Like on Monday, I spent the entire day BD, like cold calls, warm calls.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
spent.
no, I like that because that was right. You were doing the right thing. You were picking up the phone,
Yeah,
hitting the phone,
and it was
catching
hard. It
it.
was really, really hard, and I don't like doing it all the time because I find I produce quite a lot of content and I do mailers as well and I do other things, but I have a client base that I've worked with for years and I tend to pick up a lot of work from these guys anyway. But it's that moment where you kind of look at the market and think, right, I need to probably get over September. I need to do this, this, and this. So I need to then go down this route of business development.
Yeah,
So you have to pick up the phone. You have to do the good old fashioned stuff. And yeah, it was super hard. It was horrible. And it reminded me why I hate cold calls. I absolutely hate it. But you have to do it.
yeah,
You have to do that part of your business. It doesn't
yeah.
go away. Well, it can by not doing it. That's how
Yeah.
it goes away.
No, no, but I think I read it and I was like, full credit to you. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how long you've done your job
You
or
yeah,
what your core clients are. You do need to do that.
yeah, yeah,
Probably the main time I do it is if I've registered somebody that wants to work in a particular area, and then I will just pick up the phone and put
yeah.
it on the list. I hate those, those 4 sales days.
Oh God.
Oh God, they just
Oh man.
ruin me so much.
Why was it as well? I mean, I've worked for a few companies now, and every single company I've worked for does a sales day in the
Mm,
belief that it does something good. And I never believe it does, because I did a survey after the first couple of weeks of doing sales days of where are the jobs at now that you picked up on that Wednesday morning for Power Hour. And
yeah,
and we
power
just
out.
Power Hour, yeah.
Oh,
And what you found was, because I used to track, because people used to send it to me, and I used to track them all on a spreadsheet, and then I'd say, right, so that job with Joe Bloggs Industries, where's that now? Oh no, we couldn't find anyone, or the job's dead. Was it a real job then? Did you really pick up a job, or was this just some bullshit for sales day? And you
yeah.
found that nearly every single job on that list they picked up on that morning was pointless, waste of
That's
time.
interesting, actually. Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere. And then you have the odd 1 month that makes a placement. And you think, oh, great. But does that justify an entire company shutting itself down for 4 or 5 hours on a Wednesday morning
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
you could do an hour a day of that and
yeah.
be a part of the mentality of driving your desk forward?
They are just crazy. I think another terrible interview I went to. I was trying to get into PR, I think, when I was a graduate. I was sat in a really formal, like really over the top, pretentious, London company, and all the chairs were different sizes, and they put me in the small chair, and already small, but everyone was taller than me, and it was just so intimidating. And I'm not easily intimidated, but I was just like, well, this is weird. I don't know. This is like quite quite intimidating. Yeah.
It's insane. And some of the candidate interviews that some of the candidates tell me as well that they've been to, because we're in this game, we hear a lot, don't we? We hear a lot of what people say. And I think the most normalist world to be interviewed in is engineering, because they just literally go, "Can you do the job? Yeah, all right. When can you start?" And if they kind of fit in, they've got the job.
Yeah.
Whereas comparing that to the recruitment world, I don't know what's going on.
Mm.
One corporate recruitment business was interviewing me. Half the interview was asking me like real abstract questions, like if you were a sauce, what sauce would you be?
Oh,
And
oh,
it's, you know what I mean. I don't know, chili sauce. Why? Because I like chili sauce. Oh, interesting. What do you mean? Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Oh, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. What have you got a job within your kind of career that you look back on, you think, why did I go there? Don't obviously mention the company, but
Do you know what one? Yeah, one. I said when I was working in London, I did a degree in media studies.
ooh,
So I did work in TV, and one of the places I worked at was just horrendous. Yeah, like my boss was like Cruella de Vil, just draped in fur and diamonds and like these long red talons, and it was just horrendous, awful,
it sounds
awful.
like that movie. What's that movie with um flipping hell, I am really bad with actress names. It's about like Ugly Betty, but the movie version of Ugly Betty.
Uh, the Devil Wears Prada.
Prada, that's the one. Yeah.
It was like that, and that was a horrendous job, awful. But I was so desperate, as a graduate, moved to London, you know, I just wanted to I thought
Yeah.
all these big things, I was going to make it big in television and all this kind of stuff. So yeah.
So what's the future for you then? What's your plans into the future?
Oh, I want to just see how this year goes. I mean, I do want to continue this. I will never work for an agency again, ever.
Yeah.
Like, I think once you've gone self-employed, you
Yes.
know,
It's
yeah,
I think I know some people have gone self-employed, have gone back to agency, regretted it, and are looking for the route back to being self-employed again. Most people, they will rather not make enough money and pick up a part-time job somewhere and stay self-employed than go back and work for people. That's how
yeah.
I've spotted it. But there are people that do it and they fail. I think it's a state of mind personally
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
game.
Found my calling. This is it for me. So I don't know. I want this to have a sort of normal year this year after last year,
Yeah.
and see, I want to hit my target and see how it goes. And then I do need to progress in other ways, like loads of fine tuning in terms of I need to do more video stuff, more social media stuff, like sort out some back end stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that needs organizing still. I feel like I'm still
The
nowhere near.
learning.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think the last 12 months has really been such a mind kind of game. And it's everyone's been in survival mode, I think, and still are. So I certainly think I'm still in survival mode. My
yeah,
my kind of perspective on things hasn't changed in 12 months. I think it's still kind of very nervous, cautious kind of world that we're still in.
yeah,
Um, and that's kind of what you look for then, is that stability. So you're not going to be creative. You're not going to think about the things like you just mentioned, like back office or utilizing the right thing or making some videos or doing something.
yeah.
You're finding the best solution for the moment, and that's the right solution for you right now, isn't it? Really, it's
Yeah, that's it. It is just survival. I just want, obviously to do well and be happy, really. But as you were saying about growing the business, I don't think, although we're all money motivated, I don't want excessive amounts. It was about quality of life and
yeah.
being happy. And, I can imagine how you get to that point. I'm keen to see how this year ends out, really.
I think it's going to end up positive if, and there's loads of ifs and buts, and that's the worrying part of it, and why I think a lot of people are kind of just pulling back a little bit and staying in survival mode because they don't trust what's going on moving
Yeah.
forward. But yeah, I'd be keen to see what happens at the end of this year. I was on some podcasts last year and some LinkedIn lives, and the people I was with on them were talking about V-shaped recoveries and stuff like that. At the moment, I think it's more of an elongated, slow build up. So
Yeah, yeah,
is there going to be a moment where it goes straight up? And I get the hope is for V-shape, but
yeah.
I haven't evidenced it, and I follow the market quite closely at the moment because I want to see stuff move forward, basically.
Mhm.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this year does. I think next year's a different year, completely different year to everything.
I can't think about next year. I can't think too
Yeah,
far ahead. I'm just all about, let me just get to December and see where I'm
yeah.
at. And that's it for me.
I'm like, let's get to the end of August at the moment. Can we get
Yeah,
into this quarter now? Let's finish this
yeah,
quarter because it does. I mean, perm recruitment. People don't realize it's not. I don't think it's a monthly game. It's a quarterly game. I think you can only plan a quarter ahead with perm recruitment, and then maybe into the next quarter if someone's on a 3 month notice, or if do you know what I mean, and or you've got a very long game job to fill at the
yeah.
same time. But I can't see beyond August at the moment.
You just perm or do you contract as well?
Just all perm. I did contract, or started doing contract at the beginning,
Yeah,
but because I really didn't want to get up on Monday mornings and chase contracts, or chase timesheets, or chase payments on Fridays, I kind of looked at it and I went, if I pour my effort into perm, I'm
yeah,
probably going to make about the same amount of money. I
yeah.
don't think you do. I think if you get the right contracts, you can make more money.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I think that the trade-off with perm is there's more ups and downs, but it's about the same. I think
yeah,
personally,
yeah,
that's how I look at it. But yeah, so I then stayed away, and then IR35 came in, and that
mm,
made me just go, oh yeah, I'm keeping away from that
yeah,
for the moment.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And those are the things that are changing in our market, constantly changing. Is these things, and there's always contractors that'll get hammered the first, which is quite frustrating for them and for us, really.
Yeah.
So yeah. What about you? You looking at?
Pure perm, no interest, just
You
fine.
mentioned, yeah, you did say,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Is
Too,
that for
too
is that for any specific reason that you don't want to go down the locum route,
I mean,
or
it's not all the, insurances, IR35, everything else. It was just a total, and I don't think you can do everything. Not when you're an independent. Like,
you can't?
no, there are other recruiters out there that do both, but it's just not for me.
I know some people that do contracting, but won't touch perm, and they're an independent, but they do engage with certain companies to do a lot of the work for them, if that makes sense. So they just fill jobs, and then someone else deals with all the chasing and stuff. But then as you look at kind of how much money they make, I think it's a little bit less than you would if you just did per. Do you know what I mean? That's just my opinion. People will correct me. I know they will, but that's kind of how I see it. But I find, I don't know about you, I find perm such an an easier job? I don't know what that's
Uh,
like for you.
no, actually, I think temporary is really easy. You know, it's just like jobs on, three CVs across. You
True,
know,
true,
we all
yeah. But you got all the
do.
compliance and, like I say,
Yeah,
IR35 and all that kind of side of it. And then there's the risk factor of it. So if they go on site and break something, the impact that comes back on you and your insurance has to get involved, or maybe your insurance didn't cover it because you didn't get the right cover. And then there's all that worry about on top of that. That's how I kind of look at it. Am I worrying too much? I think I'm worrying too much.
you're overthinking that a little bit.
I know. They're gonna sue me.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing.
Good, good.
Yeah,
So I guess thank you for your time. This
that's
has
all
been
right. It's all right.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
I'm the first one to put you on camera, at least. So,
please get over it, Mark. I know I do. I know I do. So thanks very much. Anyway.